You're minuscule within the universe. Therefore, your problems are insignificant. Compare yourself to the size of your house. You're pretty small. Compare your house to the size of your town. It's even smaller. Now compare your town to the size of the earth. It's barely visible. Then compare the earth to the size of the universe. It's basically invisible. You're merely a fraction of the size of a speck of dust compared to the universe. That's on a floating rock, spinning around a ball of light. There is so unbelievably much going on in the universe and even the world. But for some reason, you still worry about talking to the girl that you like, making small talk, or even fearing being judged. Would you care as much if you seen a child drop their ice cream and start crying in comparison to your problems? You would certainly not care much, or even at all, since you understand that the child is okay and is only experiencing bad emotions. And you're able to understand that because you aren't making the problem bigger than it is, and you're also looking at the problem from the big picture. Because in a week's time, the child will forget that it even had ice cream last week. In the moment, the child would need some comfort and maybe another ice cream. Whereas when you start panicking about being judged, you're making the problem tens of times bigger than it actually is, and you're in no way looking at the big picture. You become hyper-focused on the present, since you're basically in survival mode, and are trying anything to get out of that situation or make the situation better for yourself. And looking at a problem like being judged, of course it doesn't feel good, I understand that, but are you going to be on your deathbed, worrying about the time you were judged on a Thursday morning in May 2022? Worst case scenario, you take the problem to heart and it makes you feel a bit depressed. But if you have a problem with it or not, the world will continue spinning, and everything in the earth and around it will continue on the same as well. You will live to be a year older no matter what you do, and you can increase the quality of each year that you get older if you deal with the problems that arise, and or you don't worry about the problems that you do have, because you can see them for what they are and you realize they're not such a big deal. Of course, deal with your own problems if you're able to, but if it is too difficult, then please see a professional about your mental health or your problems. If you do want to deal with your own problems yourself, then it will first require you to journal the problem. You would write out every single worry and concern that you have about it. Then you forget the things that you can't control and focus on the things that you can. You will then write out what you're going to do to solve the problem, and or what you're going to do to stop it from happening next time. And then finally write out that everything is okay and that you're still a good person. Do not put yourself down for anything you might have done wrong. Take for example, say I'm worried about talking to a girl that I like. I would first write out the problem, which is that I'm nervous to talk to the girl because I'm scared of being rejected. I cannot control if the girl rejects me or not, so I can't worry about it since it's out of my control. What I can control is how I approach her and what my reaction is if I get rejected. To solve the problem, I need to go talk to the girl so that the possibility of her liking me back opens up. And if I do get rejected, I will improve myself so that the chances of me being rejected to the next girl I talk to are much lower. And then I would tell myself that everything is okay and that it's normal to be nervous like that. And definitely not put myself down for being like that. And it's not like you can write it down and the problem magically goes away. You really need to talk to yourself and maybe your inner child if the problem is something to do with that. And if there's ever a time where you think you can't control things, remember that you will always be able to control your reaction to what the world gives you. And don't confuse your problems with being insignificant with you being insignificant. You are incredibly significant, while your problems are not. You mean the absolute world to so many people, and you taking on responsibility for your loved ones and things you care about means that the world will be a much worse place without you in it.